Hello and welcome to a very rainy day here on the Kyle Connor YouTube channel. You join me with the new 2025 Rolls-Royce Cullinan. This one's a black badge, and I've got a color-matched key to the interior. I've got a freaking epic spec on this thing, and I'm actually here to drive the new M5 in Greenville, South Carolina. I'm actually in Greer by the Performance Center, by the BMW X Factory, and well, there was a Cullinan sitting in the parking lot. I said, hey, do you mind if I borrow that and make a quick first drive video? Because I want to drive the new Series 2 Cullinan. And they said, yeah, here are the keys. Go take it. Make a film. So it's not going to be anything rehearsed, planned, researched, but I figured you guys could join me for a first experience on the retuned Series 2 Cullinan. And we'll get nerdy about some of the tuning, feel some of the stuff, but bad weather day. It's kind of a good Cullinan day, if I'm honest. So join me for my first drive of the Series 2 Rolls-Royce Cullinan. Now, I have to be honest, I don't have a window sticker for this particular one, but I'm sure the spec is touching $500,000, somewhere around there. I mean, these things start for 2025, just under 400 grand, but no one's going to do no customization. For 2025, the styling has changed a bit. Really loving what they did with the front end. I've seen some controversy about it online, but I think it gives it this much more stately vibe. Absolutely menacing look. You can see the blacked out Spirit of Ecstasy up here, and that is what you get with the black badge, of course. Yeah, thanks y'all. And it's just absolutely amazing to have this thing. Of course, people are excited about it. They like it. And you know, similar to Cullinans in the past, you have, if I unlock it, of course, epic rear seats, many different configurations and customizations are available back here. This one you can see, if I hit this, you've got the tray tables that pop out. We'll do a backseat review later on, but just absolutely awesome on this thing. Looking great. So, okay, no secret, I'm a Rolls-Royce Motor Cars fan. I think they build the best cars on the planet. I love the BMW durability and engineering that goes along with them. I love the absolute focus on road isolation, but also with the black badge adding in a sense of sportiness. To me, it's, as a younger person interested in Rolls-Royce, this is what I like to see. I also love how I'm like at this sketchy liquor store reviewing a Cullinan. That's amazing. But honestly, sometimes you see these things pull into some sketchy areas and you're like, I don't know where that money came from for you to get that thing. In this case, I just borrowed it from Rolls-Royce. Anyway, let's jump inside. It's cold and wet out there. Of course, you can pull the door closed. Right up there. New display. You can see Cullinan owners rejoice. You get the same gauge cluster as the Spectre, which is great. You get the new infotainment stuff that looks pretty good. Some connectivity. Nothing super crazy. Thankfully, there's hard buttons for massaging seats and things where like some owners just never want to use this. And thankfully in this car, you really don't have to. A couple different drive modes, off-road, hill descent control, air suspension adjustments, a low mode for shifting, and of course this one's spec'd with the Starlight headliner, which is great. You can have it, everyone knows this, you can have it match your, you know, birthday or whatever. You can make it brighter or darker and do the stuff, and it's just so cool. So all of this is the same. What I'm really curious about is, of course, the options list, the ways you can customize them now with this and sort of a 3D effect and inlay in there, all possibilities to customize them. That's all, you know, been a Rolls-Royce thing. They've gone crazier into bespokeness, into customizations, and I just want to drive it. So let's do it. We don't have too much time with this thing, but I've hooked up my Spotify. I can play around with the sound system and really get to know it for the next couple hours. So let's have some fun with the new Cullinan black badge. Welcome to the inside of the Cullinan Series 2. Now, this is just a very quick first impression drive, but, you know, we can drive, I guess, it doesn't have to be quick. May as well drive it and enjoy it, of course. Rolls-Royces always have just this immense oozing with quality experience, but I'm really looking forward to driving the 2025 and specifically this black badge and feeling some of that quicker shift technology at wide open throttle and some other stuff. So anyway, instantly can already tell brake pedal's different than the earlier cars, which is great. And I'm not totally sure if that's just done for black badge or not, but we are off now in the Cullinan Series 2. Oh, it is just so effortless. I love the shifter, love the view out the front. These things, you're sitting up really high, but the view does have this very phantom-like front end to it. So anyway, we're gonna get checked out of here, take the car, and then I'll be with you guys in a moment as we experience it. Absolutely wonderful turning radius though. Wow, that is extremely agile. Looks good.
Hi, Kyle. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, well, we have taken it. What's just so cool is when you're sitting at tick over at idle, you just can't even tell the engine's on. There's really just no way of knowing. No tachometer, of course, in a Rolls-Royce, just a power reserve gauge, as it should be. We're gonna go, yep, headlights on, we're all good, ready to rock and roll. Crazy bad weather here, but it's a perfect Cullinan kind of day. Water all over the road, some mud here and there. And this spec on the black badge with the orange on the inside, absolutely loving it. I think a blacked out Cullinan just looks great, and the orange accents, that's how I would do it. So, yeah, let's go. I don't think it's been up to temperature yet, so it says it is, but we're just gonna drive it gently, rear steer doing its thing. Lovely. You know there's a V12 working up there, but barely. These things are just absolutely amazing. So, you know, I have to say most of the styling, or I should say most of the upgrades for the 2025 model year honestly center around the styling of the vehicle. However, especially for Black Badge, it really did get some performance enhancements, mostly from, I mean, really all areas. So chassis performance, the air suspension's been revised, the throttle calibration and transmission tuning's been revised, and the brake pedal's been revised. And I think I read a stat recently that the average age of a Rolls-Royce owner is dropping from the 50s to like mid 40s, like 43, 44 years old. And a lot of that comes down to the Black Badge, which is always, you know, of course, a little bit darkened out trim, but also a performance variant. And as someone who's relatively young, and I have an interest in Rolls-Royces, not saying I own one or could own one, but I do think it's important for them to cater to, you know, an uncompromised motoring experience. And so by making the cars a bit more agile, a bit more personalizable, if that's a word, then I think they're really getting the right move there. First of all, this thing is just great to cruise around in. You have a head-up display, which is right off the bow of the ship, and it helps you, you know, because you got no sense of speed in these things, that it really does help you say, okay, I gotta slow down or speed up or whatever. So really, really loving it. Anyway, I'm gonna get some miles on. We're gonna get on the highway, maybe some back roads as well. Just go cruise around in this thing. I'm definitely going to find an area where we can open it up safely, just to feel, okay, if some of that suspension is cured, some of the crazy body roll from the early Cullinans, and we'll see how it does when we push it. We'll see how it does when we cruise. We'll test the driver assistance, and then we'll give ourselves a really good first drive of the Cullinan. But that V12, always just kind of whispering in the distance, just oozes quality. I mean, the only way to get a V12 really, other than supercars, is one of these now. And this is being under 400 grand, kind of the least expensive ways to get a V12 in the luxury segment. No, that's not true, because you can get a Maybach with the V12, right? S680. Yeah, so maybe I'm wrong on that. But either way, if you're going to get a V12 and you want a luxury car, it should be a Rolls-Royce. I mean, Bentley's going V8 for most of their stuff now, plug-in hybrid V8, all that things. I'm glad Rolls-Royce is stuck with the 12-cylinder, or honestly the electric. I really think there's a market for an electric Cullinan here, because most Rolls-Royce owners really don't drive that far. So if you can just get one of these, plug it in at home, like Spectre's doing surprisingly well for the brand, and I love Spectre, huge Spectre fan, made many videos with Spectre over the years, and yeah, really, this is the most amount of time I will have spent with Cullinan now. So let me get used to it, get settled in, dial up the sound system, get soaked in with the thing, and then I'll be back to you with more information soon. Will you join me in the city, just cruising around in the Cullinan at the moment? And it is just a wonderful car, and very easy car to drive smooth. It still has this Rolls-Royce magic carpet ride where you can hit all the bumps, really soaks them up nicely, and you know, it's just a freaking awesome vehicle to drive around, as you can imagine. It does a lot of second gear starts, so it sits on a loose torque converter to get yourself going, but you hear just the resonance tones of a V12, these sort of higher pitched engine noises from a start. It sounds so cool, and I absolutely love it. I mean, honestly, I don't think many people are going to do it, but these would be pretty sick with an exhaust on them. I mean, it doesn't fit the character of the car at all if you were to open it up and make it louder, because the whole point's to be removed. But just the sense that you have 12 cylinders adds so much to the motoring experience. I mean, there's so many vehicles that are going V8, and there's just something so common about a V8 that a V12 feels special, and it sounds special, and it just, yeah, it's got this nice sense of unlimited torque, and it makes full torque at somewhere below 2,000 RPM. It's 700 RPM over tickover is maximum torque, 900 Newton meters of torque, 600 PS. What's that? High 500 horsepower, and just absolutely insane values. But keep in mind, it's quite a big, heavy freaking vehicle. No question, this thing is quite large, and you know, the materials still just can't get over it. How nice everything is. All the switch gear, all of the, I was just getting poured rain on, so sorry if I'm looking a bit damp, but you know, everything just feels high quality, looks high quality. I mean, there's something about driving even a Bentley that doesn't get up to this level, or you know, the high-end Mercedes stuff. It's just nowhere near this inherent quality that you get in the Cullinan. And I always say, if you can afford a Rolls-Royce and you care about the motoring experience, I don't really like to promote the idea or really like people who buy one of these just to show off, but I think if you're a car enthusiast, there's something so truly wonderful about how this car feels. It is the best. I mean, Rolls-Royces are the most removed, most comfortable, the best daily drivers. Again, my only request is if there wasn't a V12, I would prefer an electric Cullinan. I think it's the perfect application for it. You know, if you give it 250 to 300 miles of range, just put the Spectre drivetrain in it, which isn't impressive, by the way. The Spectre drivetrain is not a class-leading electric drivetrain. That's not the point of that car. It's just to move a very nicely engineered vehicle down the road. That's what this needs, I think. But if you're not going to do electric, at least go V12, and hopefully this person doesn't come into our lane. Giant pothole in the middle of the road. Let's not get a flat tire. It does have lane departure and all of these things, but no active lane centering with cruise control. Now, that could be an options list item that this car is missing. To be honest, like I said, I just hopped in it and I haven't had a chance to drive it yet. Spectre offers the BMW Active Driving Assist, not the Hands-Free Plus, I don't think. But I do think Rolls-Royce should have lane centering at minimum. This one doesn't have it. Just has adaptive cruise control and then lane departure, which is not annoying, but certainly a little bit there. I'll tell you one thing that I don't like that is annoying, and that would be these 8 buttons that are sort of haptic in a sense, not haptic, but capacitive. You know when they're when you're touching these hotkeys up here. The problem is every time I try to adjust the map, I want to, because it's pretty far away, I want to rest my hand, especially if you're going over bumps and the car's smooth. But if you're driving, you want to rest your hand so you can type on the keypad or hit the exact button that you're looking for. And the problem is whenever I do that, it pulls up their menu of options, the pre-selections, and it covers whatever I was trying to hit. So you have to kind of just kind of poke at the screen rather than having a nice resting place. Just the lane departure pushing us back in there. So yeah, I mean, if I'm gonna complain about one thing, that's probably it. Some of the tech in here certainly is not up to par with even other brands that are much more technology focused. So to buy a Rolls-Royce, to be interested in a Cullinan, if you're watching this video and thinking about making a purchasing decision, you've already said, okay, don't really care so much about the tech. You just want the best craftsmanship, the best driving dynamics from a daily commuting, road tripping standpoint, and there's nothing that comes close. So back to the topics on durability, longevity, and how these cars are engineered. I think it is wonderful that they've A, retained the V12, but also B, made sure that this car can stand the test of time. Rolls-Royces traditionally are not crazy unreliable, and because you have the crazy BMW engineers working on every last durability thing, there's so much engineering money that went into this to make sure it can go in the sand dunes, to make sure it can go off-road, to make sure you can do a track day in it. Not that you ever would, but there's just no scenario at which the Cullinan really falls apart. It's just engineered at the maximum level an SUV can be. I mean, very equivalent to how the G-Wagon is like the toughest, craziest thing on the planet. This has a lot of those same engineering dollars, a lot of that same engineering detail, but just focused on a much broader spectrum of capability and certainly not as off-road capable as a G-Wagon in some situations. A lot of it's down to tire, but this is not so as durable. So now that we're getting out into the countryside, we can start driving it a little bit more quickly as we get ourselves on some twisty roads. And I'd like to talk a little bit about what Rolls-Royce have done to sharpen up the black badge and to make it a little bit more fun to drive. And the first thing they did for me, which I haven't tried yet, but I think it's going to be really great, is when you are hard throttle, so between 90 and 100% throttle, they have sharpened the shifts, reduced the time of gear shift by 50%. So twice as fast gear changes, which just means, bam, you can hit those gears. I hope. We'll see. The next thing they did was increase the air damper, or really air spring reservoir, so that you have less body roll. So they're more load carrying capacity. You still get this incredible waft as you go down the road, and the secondary road surface impacts are almost removed completely, but you get this sense where when you throw it into a corner, it no longer just gives up and falls over, and it's just so compliant that you're leaning. Apparently it should hold the vehicle up a little bit more, and you can really push it if you want to. And by the way, I should mention, a lot of these performance increases from throttle shifting, all that stuff, only come when you hit the low button on the shifter here, which is basically your sport mode. There's no sport mode in Rolls-Royce, so that does it there. However, I think 99.999% of the time you're just going to be cruising in this thing, and if you're just cruising, man, did they do a great job at dialing in the Cullinan. It's just so refined to the point where you drive anything else and they just feel like trash cans on wheels. It really does completely alter your perception of what a car is capable of from an NVH perspective, from a drivetrain smoothness perspective. I mean, we're going over basically the worst road paving you can imagine, and it's just straight. I can hear a little bit of low frequency resonance come through, but I feel none of the bumps. It's insane. So with that said, let's go find a twisty road, have some fun, see if it's actually sporty, and then we'll take the highway back. Sound good? Well, we find ourselves on some pretty good roads at the moment, so just dialing in all the settings here, making sure I know where the heck I'm going. We're going to click into low, which of course isn't really like a sport mode, but it does do all the sporty things. I guess Rolls-Royce doesn't want a sport mode. I don't know. As long as they let me drive it hard, that's all I care about. And you can go full DSC off and do all the things that you would expect from like a BMW Group product to let you do. So just to try a little bit of acceleration, I'm just going to slow down here, maybe do like we'll turn on this little road, but definitely sharper. Wow. Holding gears pretty well at the moment. This is great. Something so fun about driving big cars quickly, or even just hustling through. Like, I think a lot of people, at least I have some friends that drive Rolls Royces, and they all drive them pretty hard. Like, you have the like old cruising guys that'll just sit and they can do the wafting thing, but then you're like, I'm late for a meeting, I gotta freaking get there. And that's what this thing is doing pretty well. So I'm just gonna come to a stop up here, and we're gonna do a launch in the Cullinan. So let's give it a go. Left foot hard on the brake, flooring it with the right. Damn, held one gear to 60 miles an hour. That was incredible. And now we're on some twisty roads, so haven't even had a chance to experience the quicker shifting. But yeah, man, this thing is big and it's quick. It's got freaking power, but it doesn't feel stressed. The engine's just like, I'm here, I'm happy, I'm a 12-cylinder, I'm balanced, things are good. Foot down. Wow, kicks down quick. Kicks down real quick. Man, this thing is amazing on the performance side. You wouldn't expect this thing to hustle that hard. I mean, that is absolutely crazy. And in terms of body roll, the thing feels so controlled now. I mean, that was a huge road input that we just had, and it dealt with that amazing. Just soaked it, tire back down on the ground, and we're back to stable conditions. The engineers, the chassis engineers, the drivetrain engineers, I mean, the drivetrain's fairly unchanged from last year, but wow, this thing is just so refined and so dialed, and it's so hard to describe it because it is clearly in another dimension in terms of its road presence compared to other vehicles. And just the way it gets to the corners surprisingly nicely. Very minimal body roll, especially compared to the last Cullinan I was in, which felt super leany. Now, obviously, we're not pushing it that hard, but yeah, this thing's good. Little braking test, 3, 2, 1. Whoa. Brake pedal felt good. It was strong, much less travel than previous as well, which I'm sure is something they worked on. And we're foot down. Yeah, the shifts at hard throttle are absolutely changed and much better. This thing is actually kind of fun to drive fast now. That's hilarious. Let's just get on it going this way. A little traction control. Damn, that's hilariously fast shifting for a 12-cylinder now. And it shifts at like 70 miles an hour. You get second gear, or third gear in a sense. I'm not actually sure what gear we're in because it doesn't tell you, but I don't think I felt it start in first, or maybe they just reserved first for off-road mode, which really could be absolutely incredible motoring experience. Okay, so enough silly driving in the Cullinan, back to just cruising. I'd like to get this thing on the highway, see how it does at high speed, because I really think this is going to be a great family road tripper for people. And then we'll end the video on some of the updates to the 2025 Cullinan, which so far, I mean, just from a performance standpoint alone in the black badge, that transmission tuning, the brake pedal being way more reactive, to me as a car enthusiast who also loves Rolls-Royce, worth all of it right there. So good. So I figured now that I've been driving it for a little while, time for a backseat review. Let's take a look in here. So I have my seating position set up for someone 6'1". This is our little experienced drive route, if you will, but I've gone off route and have done my own thing. Okay, so what do we have here to help us close the door? We've got buttons. So we've got volume up and down and the door button. So you gotta, can you push and hold once? Nope, you gotta keep it held. There we go, a little soft close action at the end. Wonderful seating position, air vents down there. Even though the seat is in the lowest position, I can still get my feet up and up under there. All of the switch gear, you have your controls here for your screens, which you can pull down, of course, and then the screen will pop out. Maybe if I hit this button, there we go. Then I have my Rolls-Royce situations that I can control. It's even touchscreen, yes. Boom, choose all the different massages that you want. That's the most important, of course. This doesn't feel so good. This is quite flimsy. What the heck, Rolls-Royce? Okay, let's close it all back up. This should go up now. There we go. Starlit headliner's beautiful. I would prefer a glass roof, but that's just for me. I still think it's amazing. And I don't love how the screens and everything add this much, length to the backrest. Of course, we have rear seat controls here. We've got some cooling action with the cooler going on in the back. And we've got, I don't even know what we have back there. The flutes. Hell yeah, but we probably don't need it cooling anything. Just wasting efficiency, but I guess that's what you can do in a Rolls-Royce. Even more glasses back here. Dang, and we've got, of course, heated, cooled seats and your temperature adjustments, USB-C, and the only clear 12-volt cap I've ever actually seen before. That's kind of cool. Anyway, lovely, lovely, lovely place to be. What's funny is when Cullinan first launched, does the door open with assistance? No, you have to push it open. What? No way. There's no way. Open door. Come on. How is this possible? Yeah, I think this is a two-hander. Give me a second. So in other Rolls-Royces, you can just pull the handle and then you're power assisted to open. But here, at least it has the power and it's got the, cool hydraulic thing there, or I guess electric in this case, got the umbrellas. But yeah, opening that door, maybe I'm doing something wrong. To be honest, I've never spent any time in the back seat of a Cullinan. That's my first time back there. Can I push the button to have it close? Yes, that works. Cool. Wow. Absolutely amazing specification on this one. Let's check the trunk space. I wonder if this one's optioned with the rear bench seat that I've never actually seen anyone use in real life. Boom. And we've got the lower tailgate. Oh, we do have a window sticker. Amazing. Okay, let's check underfloor. No rear cool bench option or anything like that. It's got the glass partition though. Let's take a look at the spec. Check the spec. Oh man, I was $100,000 off. It's $598. Holy smokes. So starts at $470 for the black badge. Quite a bit less without the black badge. And this one's got, oh my goodness, all of the options. Not all of them, just quite a bit. Holy smokes. Over $130,000 worth of options right there. Absolutely fantastic. Oh no, it's got the no dog sticker. What the heck? Maybe because there's no airflow back here for the glass partition. I'm sure there's a way to spec it so you can have it safe for the dog. Everything closes up right there with a push of one button. Absolutely awesome. Interior, very much the same up front, same spec, everything. Of course, you have your auto hold controls. I've set the headlights to automatic. I just love that switch. So old school, amazing. Love these metal adjustments for your air vents that slide in and out of the dash. Everything in here is just so freaking nice. There's no way around it, guys. And with that said, let's go back. Time to do a little highway run. But I'm loving the Cullinan. Always have, always will. And I love the Series 2. The Series 2 really makes this car modern. It's got a sporting edge. And the thing is, it doesn't matter the price. There is nothing on the road that drives like a Cullinan does, or really any Rolls-Royce. They are in a category of one, and it's amazing. It's that's all it is. It's just a great experience. I'm glad you guys can join me for this. And of course, to close the front door, I can just hit this button, and it comes on in. Man, does it come in quick, though. Be careful. Well, I've had a chance to play around with the sound system, drive the car in more streets, little side streets, and I have to say, sound system rocks really good. Got to juice the bass a bit, but it definitely bumps, which you would think, yeah, of course, and it's a bespoke audio is what it's called, but the Spectre sound system was not good at all, so I was kind of worried. Nope, sound system bumps, great bass. I still don't think it's as good as the Bowers & Wilkins that's in the iX. That is insane, but yeah, definitely a sound system fitting of a Rolls-Royce. Let's click it into low, which is the sport mode. We're going to merge onto the highway. One note I'll say about driving around town is rear steer is really active. It works pretty hard and works really well. We're going to just roll into it because we have a high speed limit, so no one's really behind us. So let's just launch it. Yeah, we'll come from 0 and full throttle. Loose torque converter. There we go. 20 miles an hour. It all locks up. There's 60. Second gear, quick shift. And we're all the way up. Second gear will actually hold pretty much to 100 miles an hour. Not that I would have tested that, but it's just hilarious that you get no shifts to 60. 0 to 60 in under 5 seconds is done in one gear. And then second gear brings you to north of, well, at least high 90s. Let's just say. And it felt like there was plenty more to go. So that's just absolutely hilarious and insane. You do have it shift around town, like especially if you take it out of low, it's pretty eager to upshift and it works pretty well. And if I just wanted to go for a pass, like just in terms of passing power, we're here matching speed, I'll mat it past the kickdown switch. There we go. Drops the gears, and must be quite the sight for other people to see this thing just stand on its hind legs and rock it off. Wow, what an experience. The turn signal noise is great. Again, no adaptive cruise, or sorry, it does have adaptive cruise, but no lane centering in this one. We're just going to come in under braking pretty quickly here. We're going to throw it into the corner. Lovely. The body roll portion has been completely removed, back into low gear, sharpens up the throttle, and we'll just hustle it through a couple corners, may as well. You just end up going so quick because the gearing is so long. You're like, yeah, let me just stay in it. And you can absolutely boogie this thing if you want to as well. It's really, just does it all well. That's what you would expect. There's no flaws. There's no issues. It's tuned to be relaxed, but very quick. Very, very quick. And just this noise, if you drive it reasonably sporty, not really ripping on it, it's a great noise. The thing is, when you're under load, it sounds very similar to the BMW B58 inline 6 engine. However, at very low RPMs, you get that V12 tonal resonance that I was talking about, and it gives it this unbelievably lovely, supple, high quality character that just oozes of unlimited torque. The ride is amazing. The quality in the interior is amazing. The highway cruising ability is second to none. Just needs a little bit more lane centering tech, I think, to come up to today's standards. And, just a level 2 lane centering system. Just put whatever the Spectre has in here, and it might be an option. I mean, for 600 grand, this car should have it, though. You can make that argument. And I love the ability to make your Rolls-Royce bespoke to what you're looking for. The spec on this one's probably pretty close to what I would do. I love the bright colors. I love the young, youthful look of some Rolls-Royce vibes that they're doing on their specifications. But then you can go classy, and you can make everything chrome and take out the black badge stuff and just have a nice, really comfy, very luxurious build. I mean, they all kind of work, but you can mess it up. I've seen some people do some really stupid builds on Rolls-Royces. So just make sure you really work with your dealer to tick the right boxes, spec the right stuff. And, you know, I don't think there's a need to go so overboard, but if it is really going to be your one statement piece car, the car that, you know, you worked hard, you're going to go and spec everything the way you want it, then there's no other brand other than maybe Porsche, but nowhere near as much as Rolls-Royce, that lets you customize absolutely everything to what you want in the most high quality way. For example, I met and spent probably a few hours with the guy who does all the dashboards on these things, and like, you know, hand carving wood and all this crazy stuff. And he mentioned like they are pushing the boundaries of material science because there's certain materials that customers ask for. They're like, we want this leaf or whatever to go in there, and they're like, okay, we'll get some, we'll run it through a durability aging test of, you know, rapid aging, and then it comes back and they're like, oh, we have to adjust this thing. So now they're doing like literal chemical engineering and engineering of components to give the customer the look and feel they want, but with components that can last the test of time and stand the test of time, because that's what these things need to do. Rolls-Royces stay on the road for years and years, and everything about this car just feels like it's going to hold up so well deep into the future. Everything that you would think would be plastic is metal. And it just is like, oh yeah, this thing's gonna last forever. So with that said, that's my Cullinan review. We've been able to drive it in the city, experience some of that rear steer goodness. We've been able to test the enhanced performance of that stiffer brake pedal, the significantly reduced body roll, and the much quicker shifts. Not that you really need that many at wide open throttle. It's really like most owners are only gonna need that first to second gear quick shift once throughout ownership, twice, I don't know, but definitely the low mode just stiffens everything up, spices everything up, and I really like driving the car in that mode. But if you're going out to dinner with some friends or whatever, just leave it in drive and be comfortable. And then of course we took it on the highway, and this thing can just munch miles forever. It's absolutely supple on the highway and dead silent. Zero noise comes in, and it's really only that super high quality presence of a V12 just in the background that you want, and it gets all the right noises. So from an automotive enthusiast standpoint, someone who's not in the market for a Cullinan, from my perspective, it is just an experience to know what's possible. And I think that is one of the best parts about having the ability to drive these cars, is to know what are the benchmarks, what is physically possible with known technology and materials and build standards today. And it is incredible. And it shows how much cost cutting goes into the rest of the automotive, I don't know, every single brand just kind of can't even come close to Rolls-Royce. It really leaves me speechless, as you can tell. And normally I'm pretty good with words, but describing Rolls-Royces are really tough because you can't describe them. You have to experience them. So hopefully you guys are all able to drive one of these if you're watching this video and just understand what the heck I'm talking about, because it is unlike anything else. They're effortless, they're fast, they're enjoyable, and they're absolutely worth the money, in my opinion, without question. So foot down, roll into it. Just and then we'll set the nose back down off plane. Thanks so much for watching another Kyle Connor YouTube channel video. A fun impromptu surprise being able to drive the Cullinan Series 2 for the first time, and all of the improvements here, the digital experience, the driving experience, the customization options are all completely worth it. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.